Yeah, it's how I talk a lot about perceptions, man. It's the way you perceive it. It's like a relationship can break you or make you, and
Correct.
it's your choice.
I'm a massive believer in that, bro.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just been able to, and with all respect to everyone listening as well, like everyone's doing the best of what they've got, and that's where you can bless them with knowledge and wisdom. Once you're conscious of it, it's your responsibility, right? So
Hey, legends. Welcome to another week of the Interchange podcast, and thanks for joining me again. Now, my next guest was a young boy diagnosed with Asperger's from a very young age, which meant he had little to no confidence, who is now an entrepreneur, a life coach, and a business owner of his own. Now, the first time we actually met, I was completely butt naked. I'm talking full frontal action. But to find out more about that, you'll have to stick around for the rest of the podcast. Let me introduce you to Lewis Huckstep.
man, I love connecting with amazing people, man, and we connected a couple months ago through social Mega Run. Oh, hang on. Yeah, man, you take it
Right,
first.
so the first time we actually met each other, so yes, you're right, Mega Run a few times, and obviously we did a podcast not long ago together on your platform.
Yeah.
But it actually jogged my memory, and I'm like, man, I've met this dude somewhere before, and we were speaking about this off air, but this is in my days as a topless waiter and stripper.
Yeah.
And I was working at a friend of yours, what were their names again?
Brooke and Dale Fenwick, and they were clients of the gym. So I like my clients. I get to know them, and they say, "You want to come around to our hens?" I'm like, "I've never been to one." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck, why not?" And yeah, keep going, man, because it jogged my memory from when you said.
This is like my third job as a topless waiter, and these girls were like, "Let's get him naked. Like, how much is that going to cost?" And I was like, "Oh, lucky I shaved."
Yeah.
So here I am running around this house naked, and I'm pretty sure the buck at the time, who was that, your mate? Who was the buck?
Yeah, well, I knew both. They were both clients at the gym, so yeah.
And I think he was pretty messed up, so he'd passed out, and all you boys started coming into where all the girls
Yeah.
were. This is a bit of a weird setup, and I've done a few of these ones since, but my third job, and there was a bucks and a hens in the same house, but being that it was a massive house somewhere in Surfers Paradise, I just remember that, like, at one point you guys started piling in, and I met you, and you're like, "Hey man, I'm Lewis," and I'm like, "Yeah, hey man, I'm Ben." You're like, "Bro, you're pretty confident." Eh? I'm like, "Yeah, what's my job, bro? Do you want a drink?"
Yeah. Yes, I do remember.
And that was our first meeting, bro.
Yeah, man, you only sparked it 20 minutes ago. So yeah, man, here we are.
Yeah, here we are, bro. It's funny how you sort of meet people, and like then it's like, you're gonna either run into them again or never see them again. It's just funny how we've reconnected over, I guess being in the same sort of world with the personal development type of stuff. So obviously the man you were then though is different to the man you are today. So I guess what's the journey been like for you coming to become the mentor and I guess the personal development guru you are now?
Man, so I always tell it a bit differently. I'm not sure whenever someone asks about your story, it's always a little bit different.
Yeah.
Man, I start generally with the childhood stuff, diagnosed with Asperger's, ADHD, autism, and those were like the seeds that were planted back then that sprouted later on and really served me to today. With those, I guess, those gifts, I struggled socially. I struggled to make friends. I struggled communicating. Had an emotionally volatile upbringing with mum and dad, just relationship pain, dramas, fights. And yeah, I struggled a lot. I struggled just as myself. I didn't like go through abuse or rape or abandonment from what I know, but it was just mentally challenging for me to make friends, to communicate. And on top of that, I went to 5 different schools. So it kind of like was quite challenging. It's kind of made that even worse, but again, worse, it's gifted me since. But that was early days. I found sanctuary through sports. I love sports. Rugby league is my thing. So I was chasing the dream back in the day. I went to PBC on the Gold Coast, which is a big sporting school. Contracted between ages of 12 to 18 with the Titans and then the Broncos, or other way around, Broncos and the Titans. And had a couple injuries. My knee dislocated a couple of times. Started to lose the passion, and I wanted to be a PT, and I wanted to be a high school teacher. That was like kind of backup plan if footy doesn't work out.
So they're two very different, I guess, fields of work, right? One's very active, one's very with people. And just to re-clarify, so you really struggled with connection and struggled to be around people when you were younger.
Yeah.
So where did that, I guess, the spark to want to be a teacher come from? Because obviously that's a big people person job.
I think, man, like you attract people into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Kerwin actually gave me that one. So, and man, I had some amazing teachers. I had some bad ones. I had ones that weren't the best, and then I had some in particular at PBC. Like I had one McManaman and Zimmo that I still remember. Macca in particular. Like I didn't have enough money for a tutor. He would tutor me for free before school because I was a slower learner because of the Asperger's way of thinking. So I remember I did my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness at school, and I would sit outside his office at lunchtime just to get on top of it because I was doing footy, I was doing school, I had family shit, I was just trying to keep up with it all. And he just did so much for me, man. Like he trained me in Muay Thai because I went to PBC's a bit of a rough school. Well, it used to be, it's a lot better now. And like I remember, man, first week of year 8, there was a fight every day at school, like first year of high school. And I'm not a big dude and I'm hanging around like with the footy boys. So I felt okay then. But I was like, fuck, I want to look after myself, just self-defense. So like he trained me for free, tutored me for free. He was just a mentor for me. He was a coach for me. He was someone.
Real mentor.
Yeah. First, I guess conscious mentor that I had. I guess everything plays its role. So yeah, I think that inspired me, and he was a personal trainer in the holidays because I saw like sort of teaching. You can be a teacher and get that sort of fulfillment from helping, not make the best money, but make okay money, and then be a PT in the holidays, so make more money, help more people. I like training, fitness. I thought that made sense. So yeah, that was the dream. Went to start to get into the PT world in year 12. So I repeated year 12, or I did year 12 over 2 years. That's something my school offered, and it's called a year.
Just to sort of get more, I guess, into the workforce for personal training. So is that why it took you so long to complete it, or
just
to
to
have less subjects, to have more time for yourself?
Yeah, for sport, because I was doing a lot of sport. I was training. I was training 2 to 4 times a day. Like I was doing before school, during school, after school, club footy, rep footy, school footy. Surf Life Saving did that as well. Touch footy, love sports, man. So, and then I was doing like decently hard subjects: biology, physics, maths, B, OP, English, Cert 3 and 4, diploma in fitness. Like it was a lot for me. So it just kind of spreads it out and gives you an extra bit of time. So that was the main drive behind it. And yeah, so I started to go down the fitness route when I was 18 in my repeat year, and I'm like, let's get the foot in the door. Let's start to get into the industry. Applied at like Snap Fitness, Jets, Anytimes Fitness, World Gym, and they all kicked me back and said, no, you've got no experience. I was like, how the fuck do you get any? Like, I'm trying to get started. I'm trying to get started, man. So yeah, I remember that was quite defeating. I remember I gave up. I was like, my journey was over, gave up. And then a friend of mine got a job, and I thought I was better than her. Like, she was in my Cert 4 class. So like, fuck, if she can get one, man, I can fucking do this. So went in again, and that's where PLC introduced itself to me. I called Scott, and I said, hey, man, look, I don't want any money. Can I come work for free? I just want to get some experience. Is that cool? So he said, yeah, man, come on down. I went there, and that was the beginning of a journey, man. That was, it's 9.5 years later, man. I opened up 3 studios, sold 2 of them, about to sell the 3rd one. Helped a ton of people, made a lot of failures, made a lot of lessons. And that was like a whole chapter that's kind of coming to a close now. And in there, man, I got into the self-development world. So that's where I got introduced to Tony Robbins. He was the first exposure to self-development. Went down his rabbit hole, the books, the seminars, went to UPW.
So easy to do, right? You just consume so much knowledge there, right?
Man, it was and for someone who struggled with the stuff that you get taught, it's like, man, I'm like, fuck, I wish I knew this so long ago. Like the first video I remember very vividly, it was just like matching and mirroring how to build rapport with people. And for someone who struggled connecting with people, making friends, communicating, socially awkward, I'm like, fuck, this is gold. Like, this is amazing. So
why don't they teach this shit at school?
Yeah. So, then went down to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Joe Dispenza, DeMartini, Kerwin Ray. I know you just went and saw Uncle Kerwin. So in that sort of 9-year period, man, just went heavy on self-development and still do, of course. And yeah, I was just always drawn to the coaching side. It was just, I was always drawn to it. I teach values, and it's my highest value is I call it coaching or teaching. And I just always loved it, man. I've just always enjoyed it. Because those seeds that were planted ages ago where I struggled learning, I was a slow learner, I struggled communicating. It's the insecurity it gave me to make me want to work on it, because your insecurities drive you. That's why people judge themselves for insecurities, even though they serve you. So people
need to make that decision, right? See, insecurities can stop people from wanting to, I guess, better themselves, or it can rocket ship them further into that personal development world.
Yeah. It's how I talk a lot about perceptions, man. It's the way you perceive it. It's like a relationship can break you or make you, and it's your choice.
I'm a massive believer in that, bro.
So so it's just been able to, and with all respect to everyone listening as well, like everyone's doing the best of what they've got, and that's where you can bless them with knowledge and wisdom. Once you're conscious of it, it's your responsibility, right? So so anyways, that whole journey was amazing. Loved it. The events, the courses, the mentorship, did K2 for a couple of years. That was awesome, from just a business apprenticeship. That's the way I really word it. It's just like an apprenticeship on business, marketing, sales, leadership, structure, and all that stuff. And yeah, so I made a decision about 2 years ago to just fully get out of the gyms, as in like remove myself from the operations of it and just go ham on the coaching, podcast, clients, build a business, teaching what I love, doing what I love. And I guess I got to that stage last year, pretty much about 12 months ago. I sold my second one. So that it went through July last year. So pretty much 12 months now. Been doing coaching full time and I love it, man. And now, yeah, just working on it, connecting with amazing people, building my podcast like you've come on mine.
Of course, bro, yeah.
Hey, man, just trying to fucking change the world, man. That's me.
It sounds like from a very young age, obviously you said you wanted to be a PT,
Yeah.
right? You wanted to be a teacher. And the reason you want to be a teacher is because you had this mentor of a teacher that was helping you with your journey. And it's almost like you've always had this passion or this purpose that you felt to help other people.
Yeah.
So obviously with that being said, where does that go from here? So obviously you're coaching full time. What does the next 5 years look like for you with that?
Man, the vision, I normally go big picture than small picture. So, man, big picture, the purpose is to heal and improve the consciousness of the world. My mission is to impact 1 million people in the next 10 years. So 5 years, I probably haven't got a clear enough 5-year goal, but it would just be as far towards that as possible. So I'm currently working on I've got a course that I finished and that's, I guess, my main product that I do sell is coaching with me or the course. So there are only really 2 products I have at the moment to offer people, but building the podcast, so getting awesome guests on it, building that up, trying to connect with as many people as possible. That's just such an awesome way to help people who might not be in the position to invest. They haven't got the cash. They're just getting started, which is where we've all been there before. Working with amazing people, having other products. I was having some sort of ideas of how I can help more people who aren't really ready to put that bigger amount of money into themselves. So yeah, I don't have a clear answer on it, but it'd just be as far into that as possible, whether it's having X amount of reach on my podcast, having X amount of subscribers there, downloading it every single week. Just sharing the message, man, just helping people live a life that they fucking love, to work through their shit, heal through the past, rewire their beliefs that don't serve them, get clear on what they fucking want, which is their purpose, their vision, their passion, and then commercialize it too. And that's where I love dancing between sort of the spiritual, healing, personal development aspect, but also the commercial aspect, because we live in a commercial world. It's not.
We're getting marketed every day, right?
Yeah. So it's not love, trust, and pixie dust. It's like you want to do well, you got to. It's the Tony says it really well. Tony says the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Like you need both. You need to have the art of what do you love, what lights you on fire, what are you fucking inspired to do.
Yeah.
But then the science, like how are you going to actually create that? What's the action plan? You just went to Kerwin, you would have had like the annual outcomes, quarterly outcomes, monthly outcomes, weekly, daily.
That big goal.
Yeah. So, man, just give what I kind of just said in a nutshell, give that to as many people. So people know what they love. They know who they are. They've healed from their shit. They're working on their triggers. They're working on their limiting beliefs. They're clear on what they want. They've got clarity on what to do and they're fucking taking action. Yeah. That's what I want to do, man.
Now, I think that this is another big thing to go into. So that's the next 5 years, but the previous 5 years up until now has got you to the point where you are today.
Yeah.
And obviously to be a coach, obviously coaching people through life, you have to have your own journey that you've gone through.
Yeah.
So what was that journey for you? I know you've spoken about addiction in the past and that sort of stuff. Can you elaborate a bit more on that for us?
Yeah, man. Like I think, man, addiction for me, I wasn't a drugs person, wasn't an alcohol person. I think my social anxiety was a benefit in that sense because I didn't want to go to parties. I didn't want to go out too much. I think I went out clubbing like 4 times. I think like that was kind of me done. But man, like
you save a lot of money that
way. Save a lot of money. But yeah, man, addiction, especially stimulus, man. Like stimulus on my phone. Like fuck, I'm still working on that thing.
So you and me both.
So man, just working on things that don't serve me, man. Like it's becoming aware of it. I guess to answer your question, the last 5 years, I think addiction for me. It's kind of a reverse answer, but it's using things to avoid going within myself. It's using your phone. It's using things like pornography.
Right?
Yeah. It's using things that stop you. Like everyone does, majority of people, does everything to avoid just sitting with their own thoughts.
External validation. Yeah.
Stimulus, phones, drinking, work, like exercise. It's
it comes in all shapes and sizes, right?
Yeah. So, man, for me, that's probably the biggest one. It's actually, and I'm still guilty of it, man. Last night, my partner was away. She went and watched the new Barbie movie, and she said it was great. And man, I had the house to myself, and we're actually something we want to work on and have a bit more alone time. And man, I just put my phone away. I'm like, fuck, I got to stop playing with my phone and just stretch and just let my thoughts breathe. and just letting myself actually go within and start to process and start to think of ideas. I know you're quite a creative dude like me. You think of your vision, think of your goals, how you're going to break that, how you're going to build that. So probably the biggest addiction for me, man, stimulus. So stimulus through my phone, stimulus through pornography, stimulus through staying busy. I used to be a workaholic. Sleep when you're dead was I used to say that
man,
with pride, pride, right?
I was a crackhead. I slept once a week.
Yeah, it's like I work harder than you. It's like you wear it as like a badge of honor.
It's right, but it's actually like this, especially in like a corporate workspace. You see this so much. It's like, oh man, I was up to whatever time doing these mergers last night. I had like 16 coffees throughout the night, and it's like they wear it like you said, a badge of honor. It's like a thing to be proud of, and they're trying to outdo each other.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, that's all. It's just ego, and obviously unconsciously back then. But it's like I've found screenshots because that's about 5 years ago. I had the second studio. It was in Coomera, so that's actually around the corner from here. And I had screenshots. I was on average getting between 3.5 to 5 hours of sleep. I'd wake up because we'd take 5 a.m. classes at the studio. I'd take those classes, work all throughout the day. Take the classes at night, pack up, shoot home, grab Macca's on the way home because I didn't want to cook and I couldn't be fucked on. Pinnacle of health, right? For a gym owner, right? I just like sleep when you're dead. I'm a hustler. I'm a grinder. I work harder than you. It's just like, fuck that. Like I could not picture doing that anymore. So that was probably my addiction, man. Just like addiction to working, addiction to stimulus, addiction to not sitting with my own thoughts because I had so much shit that I hadn't processed, I hadn't healed through. And it's like, it's funny, like people say, or not funny, but it's interesting. Like they struggle to sleep at night. And I did this with a client recently. I'm like, well, what are you thinking about? Like, an argument or something happened or whatever. It's like, why don't you just process it? It's like, it's coming up for a reason. There's something, it's whatever you have an unbalanced or whatever judgment you have, you keep attracting things until you actually heal through it. I use a quote, you will attract people and circumstances to trigger the wounds you haven't healed through. So you'll keep attracting and thinking about and noticing things that you haven't worked on. Your perception of me is a projection of you. So there's something in you that's coming to the surface that you're thinking about, but you don't want to because it's scary, it's emotional, it's painful, it's traumatic, it's whatever. It's about mum and dad or whatever it may be. So you put your head in the sand. So
it shows up through other people.
Yeah. Everywhere, bro. Fucking everywhere. So that was me, man. That was by far my addiction, man. Just staying busy, staying stimulated, just not looking within. That was me, man.
So, okay, for someone that might be struggling with that, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are exactly the same boat as you are and exactly the same boat as I am, because everyone goes through this stuff. We've all got wounds, we've all got our, traumas and triggers. What would be the way that you would suggest to start navigating that? Like, would it be journaling? Would it be meditation? Would it be just being present, actually allowing the thoughts to come through? What would be, I guess, your number one tip for that?
Everything you said, spot on. Take those ones. They're awesome. For me, it's like your body. Like if I had a cut on my arm, I don't have to tell my body to heal it.
Right.
It heals it, right?
Yeah.
So we have an intelligence about us. Like you had a heartbeat before you had a brain. So like we have, and Kerwin talks to you the heart radiance and stuff. You want to talk about that then? So so it's like we have an intelligence that flows within us. It's in you, it's in me, it's in everything that we see. So for me, it's kind of like to the story I was just sharing. It's like, it's actually letting that do it for you. And that's where meditation comes into it. That's where journaling comes into it. The answer for me to get specific is to balance whatever it is that's showing up. So This is where I'm quite big on the depth of the teachings. That's why I like, okay, someone says, life's happening for you, not to you. Well, tell me how this happened for me, and actually being able to go through that. And that's something I love doing. So people say that quote, life's happening for me, not to me. Well, I got abused, I got assaulted, I got abandoned, I got raped, I got this, whatever it may be. How do you go through that? There's a process I go through. I've got it from Dr. John DeMartini. He's got his DeMartini method. I've got my variant of that.
Tamara's podcast the other day,
I had him on mine, I think, 2 years ago. He's my number one mentor. So love John. He's fucking changed my life. So go down his rabbit hole for whoever's listening. Doctor, he's amazing. So he's got a process where he literally goes through every single judgment. So trauma, wounds, they're just high levels of judgment. It was wrong. It hurt me. It fucked me over. They broke me. Like it's just judgment. It's high levels of it. And it's just being able to break that down step by step, question by question, to balance that until you experience true love, true gratitude, and then the wound is healed, then it stops triggering you. How do you do that? You can do that through journaling. You can do that through meditation. You can do that through breath work. You can do that through fucking plant medicine. You can do that through coaching, through therapy, through fucking so many different ways. It's all roads lead to Rome. It's just whatever tool you want to use to get there.
Whatever works for the person, right?
Yeah, exactly right, man. Like some people, I'm not a big journaler. I'm a big meditator.
Yeah.
I'm a big like sort of. I have long showers. I had a 20-minute shower today because I put frequencies on. Hot tip: put frequencies on.
Listen to what frequencies?
I don't know, man. I just follow on my phone, man. I have like I'll play some quickly into this, but I just man, I have on YouTube. I just refresh it and I follow like 20 different sort of things. So this one says alpha healing brainwaves. So I play that, and then I'll play that.
Is that like a 528?
Fuck you know more that about me, man. It says it doesn't say, but some of them have like the frequencies on it. I don't know the hertz levels. I haven't gone down that depth to it.
Quickly, if there's anyone out there that does, please get at me. And so we can get a bit more knowledge around that because it's so powerful when you actually do understand the frequencies behind what the actual, I guess, intention behind that.
Fuck yeah, man.
Bit of music is, right?
Yeah, I did a sound healing once. I went to and you could like feel it in different parts. It's pretty crazy, man. Like
different parts of like
I'm getting goosebumps, man. It's cool.
Yeah, it goes through your body just like that, right?
So I don't understand that level. And someone asked me actually a very similar question. What if you listen to like a bad one? I'm like, oh, I'm sure they're all good. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So yeah, I don't have the answer to that. I just kind of click that. And I'll meditate. And I this morning was more of for me, meditation has two purposes: is healing, or I call it centering, or creating. So it's either processing those thoughts that are coming up, the unhealed traumas, the things that your body wants to heal, but you're not letting it heal.
I really like that,
or creating, which is vision. What are you achieving? What are you building? What are you working on? So,
for sure, bro.
So today was more of a creative one. I was thinking about my business, like what's another offer I can have? I've got my high tier. I want a lower tier. Can I do a free webinar? Can I do a free challenge? Like I was thinking that. And then sometimes, man, it's like, fuck, I got really triggered today. Where's that coming from? So then using triggers. So triggers reveal the wounds you haven't worked through. So if you be conscious of the trigger, follow the vein, follow where the trauma or the judgment or the unbalanced perceptions come from, balance that perception, then you don't get triggered anymore from it. So I'm a meditator. I'm just a thinker, or you could call that meditation, I guess. I'm not a big journaler. I have a process, so I go through the questions themselves whenever it's ready for me to do some work.
That's still journaling though, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess you can call that journaling as well. I guess I think I see journaling as just sort of freehanding it. You can I guess that could work as well. For me, I'm structured. I like question A, question B, question C. So, but yeah, that's my answer is to process it, heal it, and whatever style you want to do it. If you like to go fucking smash some psychedelic mushrooms and go do a trip and that's your way, get on the plant medicine. So if you want to do that, fucking go do it. If you want to go get a therapist, go get a therapist. If you want to go get an NLP coach, go get an NLP coach. Like find your way of processing. My one tip, if you are to work with anyone, find someone who's actually done the work on themselves. I'm a huge fan of actually evidence and results over qualifications, and you can judge me for whatever your beliefs are against that, because it's like a doctor who's overweight telling you how to be healthy. I just don't believe in that. Fat PTs. I come from the industry, man. So yeah, 100% PT smash and mackers, right? So it's like, I want to work with someone who's actually done the work and they've gotten the results from themselves. You feel safe with them because obviously that's huge, man. So
be able to open to them, actually resonate with what they're saying, and obviously be open to doing the work with them, right?
100%. If you don't feel safe, like you're not going to really go to the depths that's where the healing's, that's where the treasure's buried, where you're not looking. Like to be willing to go there, you got to have someone that can hold space for you, and someone who's actually gotten results. They got testimonials, they can back up what they're doing. They haven't just gotten help themselves, which is nice, but you got to helping yourself and helping others is slightly different. It's passing on the skills and the knowledge. If you're going to go down and find someone to work with, those would be some tips on there as well.
100%. So I think that obviously getting a coach and investing in yourself is probably the best investment you can make, right?
100%, man.
Because you go buy a new iPhone, it's great for about 5 minutes. You take your photos, you post them on Instagram, and then it's like, oh, well, this is kind of old. But when it comes to investing in yourself, that's something that's always going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
And I feel like something you said there is like the next 5-10 years for you, you're just going to continue to invest in yourself and grow.
Yeah.
Life is just a journey of growth. It never really stops, does it? So for someone out there that wants to start making, I guess, the first steps, what would be the recommendation for them? Would it be to read a book, to jump on YouTube? What would be the first steps for someone that has never had anything to do with the personal development world ever before?
Well done for being on this podcast if you are. So start with podcasts. Podcasts, man. There's so many, which is awesome. Like
Heaps of gold out there, right?
So much, bro. So I think use the term I just used before, like make sure you vibe with them, energetically connect with them. Because something you'll find, like a lot of different teachers teach the same thing in a different way. It's like you hear like a Joe Dispenza and a DeMartini and a Wayne Dyer and a Tony Robbins. And it's like they all kind of life's happening for you, not to you. And they all have their different, all roads lead to Rome type of thing. Yeah. So I'd say find someone that you connect with and you won't know until you try it. So just Google fucking self-development, gurus, mentors, coaches, start with some books. Depending on the area you want to learn in, that's probably another question I'd go into. So if I was to give some recommendations on sort of personally healing and working through yourself, people that have helped me a lot, DeMartini, as I mentioned, Joe Dispenza, incredible. Joe's great, Wayne Dyer, late great Wayne Dyer, he's incredible, love his work. Tony Robbins is amazing. Tony Robbins, without any salt on Tony, because Tony's fucking changed my life. I think Tony's a great entry level for self-development. Like he really gets you hyped up. Right? Change your state, make a move, say yes, fuck yeah, let's go. Walk across the fire, do the fire walk. That's fucking fun. Go to UPW if you guys got the opportunity to do that. So Tony's a great entry level, but it depends where you want to go. Tony might not be a glass of water. That's fine. Tony's a very high energy, in your face. Let's fucking do it. Make your move. Let's rock and roll. So that's not for everyone. Yeah. It is. He's the king, man. He's the absolute king of the world. So I love Tony. My partner's going to see him at the end of the year, which is really cool. UPW again. So cool. Epic. Have you done UPW?
Before, no.
You're going to do the firewalk, man. Yeah, you're gonna yes, bang, and fucking do it. Really cool. Really, really cool. So it depends where you want to go. Finances, Robert Kiyosaki was where I started. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, isn't it? Yeah.
Like I read that because when I repeated year 12, I planned to go to uni to be a teacher and a PT. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and dropped out. I was like, nah, not doing this. I was like, not going to uni, man. Just trading time for money. It's like, fuck, if you want true time and financial freedom, you can't trade time for money. You have to buy assets or build a business to then buy assets. And you can do that through a traditional job, but it's just fucking slow. It's very hard.
Especially in today's market with the expense of everything going up.
You got to increase your income, your earning capacity, and you generally can't do that at a traditional job. You get a pay rise every 5 years for what, fucking $3 an hour, $5 an hour. Yeah. Where if you like learn a skill, like you learn how to market, then you learn how to sell, then you learn how to brand, like you could earn an extra 2, 3, 5 grand, 10 grand a week. Like that's real money, man. So, so Robert Kiyosaki would go down his rabbit hole for finances. I guess it depends where you want to go. Alex Hormozi, it's amazing. I'm sure you love his content, man. Him and Layla are fucking amazing. I love Sabri Subi. I'm going down his rabbit hole. He's a marketing and sales guy. It just depends where you want to go. Cohen Ray, obviously we mentioned him a couple of times. If you're in Australia, he's in terms of like business development, he's fucking phenomenal. I love just how he covers all bases really, really well.
I think it all just goes hand in hand, right? Like the mindset, the energy side of things and everything else as well with business.
Beautiful, man. Like that, what you just said is kind of how I'm learning to articulate that because that's where I like to sort of sit myself, where it's like there's the Buddha and the Benz. It's the Buddha's the spiritual, whole, happy, fulfilled, loving life and healed through their shit. And the Benz is the commercial. And it's the blend of two. I don't want to live in the clouds and be all esoteric and like, oh my God, just fucking manifest your future. Yes, there's a piece of that that's true. Yeah. There's also the action plan. What's the 12-month priorities? What's the business? Trigger. Yeah. So, I think, man, back to your question, it depends where you want to go. Start with Tony. Tony's phenomenal. You're obviously on this podcast. Go down Ben's work. I'm sure you've got your programs, what you're working on. Wayne Dyer's fantastic. DeMartini's fantastic. Joe Dispenza's fantastic. Just depends on what area you want to learn. So that's a bit of I love Jocko Willink. I'm not sure if you've gone down his.
He's great for leadership and that sort of stuff.
Leadership, amazing. John C. Maxwell. I'm looking at your books. You got Sabri up there. So Sabri's up there. Yeah, of course. Never Split the Difference. It depends where you want to go. Think, Grow Rich. Fucking E-Myth. I did that yonks ago. That's I probably redo to that. I'm not sure if you did this. For a learning lesson I had, I was very caught up with consuming books, but not actually retaining.
Actually doing the stuff out of them, yeah.
So I'd have like audio books. So I do all hard copies now because I had Audible. I still do have it, but I'd listen on to like 1.5, 2 times speed to read the book, but I couldn't fucking remember a fucking thing out of it. So
just going through the emotions, right?
Yeah. So just mental masturbation. So for anyone doing learning, I would recommend if you can commit to a hard copy just so you can actually sit and digest it. Hot tip, but yeah, there's a ton of fucking resources. Go for gold.
Yeah, so in other words, just absorb and take in as much resource, whether it be like video, literature, all that sort of stuff as possible.
Yeah, and the thing, to go really detailed on that, when I find someone that I want to learn from, I do go into their world. So, so most people who are some form of teachers or mentors have books. Most people have written a book, who've done it for a decent period of time. So I'll read their book. I'll listen to them on podcasts. If they have a course or a program, I'll sign up to it if I see the value in there. But yeah, definitely if you've got if you mentioned people that have just started the journey. So if you're starting the journey with no money, podcasts, YouTube videos, free workshops, free seminars, there's heaps of free shit.
As well.
Plenty, man.
Yeah.
I did one, man, Jack Deloso. I haven't mentioned him. He's fantastic. He's in Australia. If you haven't gone down his rabbit hole, he's fantastic. He runs the Entourage, which is in Australia. And he ran an event, man, $49. Lunch was provided both days. And it was two-day event. And we did limiting beliefs, we did planning, we did culture, we did values. It was a very business geared event. I walked away, I'm like, fuck me. I've done like events and paid thousands of dollars for that. It was like $49. I'm like, fuck, that's incredible. And like, if someone who's new got into that, maybe that's the wrong room for them because they're a bit earlier on. But yeah, it was fucking phenomenal for $49. I'm blown away. So yeah, there's events, YouTube videos, podcasts. You're obviously listening to one right now. And yeah, just commit. When you can afford to pay for it, do pay for it because what you pay for, you do pay attention to.
Of course.
And this is a light bulb. I think Kerwin actually gave me this one, is spending money is one of the most spiritual exchanges you can do because everything in life is energy, right? This chair, this microphone, you and me, you learn about this over the weekend with them and like including money. So that's an energetic creation of you. So if I'm giving you some money, I'm giving you a piece of me.
Right.
So that shifting it like that really helped me appreciate money more and actually value money more, and it helped me with my money mindset as well. Yep. But when you do that, you value things more. I did Sabri Subi, his book's up there on the shelf. I did his course. Like I don't want to tell him the price of his course because I don't like it, but it was thousands of dollars, and it was a lot of money for me. And this was 6 months ago. Like I when he said the price, I was like, oh. That's a solid amount of money. I was like, fuck, that's a lot of money. I'm like, I want this. I'm committed to this. It's for my mission. It's for my growth. Fucking let's go. And because I paid for it, I fucking did every fucking module in that course. I'm like, I want to get my skin in the game. Skin in the game, man. Yeah. So yeah, when you're ready for it and you're in the position to, put some money into it.
I think that's something a lot of people struggle with that. It's not even the resistance around money, but it's resistance around that limiting belief they have for themselves that they're not going to complete it or not going to get what they want out of it. So what would you say on that with the, I guess, investing in themselves?
I like the quote, if from a coach, but it applies the other way as well. Yeah. If people aren't showing up, you haven't charged enough.
True.
So if with all respect to Sabri, if he gave me that course for free, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, it's very true, but right, like if you've got something that's low entry level, there's no skin in the game, people aren't going to show up for it. And this is actually something I struggle with when trying to work with corporates. If their business was paying for it, then the people weren't showing up, right? You just triggered something. I worked with a friend of mine, Joshy, if you're watching this. He got me to come in and work with his team. Yeah. And he paid me like thousands of dollars to come in and do this. And like I'd present for the team, but no one gave a fuck. They just weren't listening. They didn't pay for it. They're like, oh yeah, fucking Thursday afternoon training with Louis or Friday afternoon training with Louis. Yeah. Joshy's paid his hard-earned money to have me here, and it's like fuck, like, and I'm like, and I could tell they weren't engaged, they weren't doing it. Obviously, I could have been better, I could have been a better coach, but it's like some of them just did not give a fuck, and it's like because they didn't pay for it. So, to answer your question, if you do value accountability, this is I don't know your thoughts on this, man, but I find it's a double-edged sword. Accountability is nice, but if you need it for your life to be successful, then you've just given your power away. It's like, I need accountability to be successful. Then fuck, you're fucked. Like you need. Then you're gonna need that every time, right?
Yeah. So I find it's like do it, be inspired to it, know your vision, know your values, know your purpose, and make sure this is on the way towards that. So you're pulled to do it. Then get accountability over the top of it because accountability is good. It's like you're doing the dog challenge at the moment, dog food challenge. So
it's like taste the challenge.
So it's That works. It's just like an extra layer on it. But if you genuinely in your heart did not want to do whatever you've written down because it's not going to move you towards where you want to go, you couldn't, like, there'll be part of you that's resistance to, I don't even want to fucking do this. Why the fuck am I doing this? I'd rather just eat the fucking dog food. So it's,
Anyone that needs to know what that is.
A bit of context.
We had a Kerwin Ray event. So I went to a Kerwin Ray event last week, as a lot of you guys will probably know, and there was thing we had to do at the end, which was a contract to sign. And
Yeah.
it was 3 critical tasks that we had to complete within 30 days.
I'm looking at it up on the wall.
And so I might have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew here, but I'm going to chew really fucking hard. So we've got build out a corporate program, 30 days of content within 30 days for the next 30 days, and then 3 keynotes written. So if you guys see me posting on my platforms eating dog food, you know that I haven't stuck to it. So
it's good, man. Social pressure, man.
Yeah, man, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I love a bit of accountability.
Yeah.
Now, something I haven't really spoken about much on this podcast before is relationships. I know that you're in a loving relationship, in a long-term relationship you've been in for a long time. How do you balance that with work? Because obviously being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, obviously, like you said, you've stepped away from the gyms now, but obviously being so busy prior to that. How do you navigate having time for your partner? What's her name?
Her name's Georgia.
How do you navigate having time for Georgia and actually being able to build a relationship that flourished?
Man, I've got some really strong beliefs around this because coming from painful relationships, mum and dad, I've come from the footy background. All my mates would cheat on their girlfriends. So I had a lot of pain. Tony Robbins, UPW that you're going to at the end of the year, you'll do a limiting belief exercise in there. And that was my first exposure to like not hardcore, that's not the word, intense personal development. And we did limiting beliefs, and the one that came up for me was relationships are painful. That was my belief. Wonder why I was single. So it's
gotcha.
So I rewrote that, and that was kind of like the entry into relationships for me. But I've been exploring this a lot for the last. I've been with Georgia coming up to 4 years now, and I still think that's like the warm up. Like that's we're still just figuring shit out, to be honest. So still getting to know each other. So. Man, for me, like this is, I lean on values here. It's when you understand what your values are and you live congruently with what they are, you're the best version of you. You're inspired, you love what you do, you're inspired by what you do, you're energized, you're creative, you're in flow state. Like you're loving who you are. Like there's a quote that I use, like low self-worth is feedback that you're not living in alignment with what your values are or your purpose or vision, whatever it may be. Okay. So when you're with someone who is conscious of what I'm saying and both parties appreciate that, then you give each other space to live to each other's values. This can sound bad for people that don't understand what I'm talking about. Like Georgia is not a high value of mine compared to my other values. So I have coaching, learning, wealth, relationships, so friendships, and then relationships. So my relationship's 5th for me. Notice family's not on there either.
And she's aware of this, obviously.
She's aware of this. Yeah. I think I'm 6th on hers, so I'm low on hers. And we joke about it. It's like, you don't give a shit about me, and we joke about it. But we know...
It's transparent, right?
Man, I couldn't be with someone who's not. Like, that's a non-negotiable for me. So once you know what values are and you appreciate each other's and you give each other space to live to each other's values, your relationship will change forever. It's perfect example. So Georgia, her grandmother was passing away. Okay. And I met this lady at Christmas for 2 seconds. I said hello to her and she was like kind of like couldn't move, had to stay in a wheelchair. Didn't even speak to her because she was busy, and I just said hello for like 2 seconds. And she was starting to pass away, and Georgia honestly wasn't that inspired to go to the wedding, the funeral. She just wasn't opposite. That heavy choice of words just then. That's all good. She had the funeral and she didn't. She was saying like, my baby, I know you don't. I know this isn't a high value of yours. I know you don't necessarily want to come to this. I have no obligation for you. I'm not pressuring you to come at all. If you want to come, I would love you to come. But if you don't want to come, don't come. And I was lying to myself. I was like, no, I'll come. I want to come. I didn't want to go. Like, honestly, I did not want to go. I had other values I wanted to prioritize: work, health, business, fucking time for myself, recharging, learning, reading books, whatever it may be. And she could feel it energetically because you can obviously tell when someone's off or something's not right. And literally day of, like we were literally about to get in the car to go drive. And just for context, it was a 4-hour drive to the place. We'd do the funeral for an hour and then a 4-hour drive back. So it'd be an 8-hour investment for someone that I'd met for 2 seconds and an hour of like standing there. And she said, baby, I don't want you to come. I would love for you to actually prioritize your values. I can tell that you're off right now. I can tell that you need to prioritize yourself. Go prioritize your values and I'll connect you with you when I get back. So actually having a relationship where you guys understand what each other's values are and let each other live to them and not guilt each other into each other's. You ought to. Whenever you use words, you should, ought to, got to, must, have to versions of that, someone's projecting their values onto someone else.
Yeah.
It's like I value business. I value learning. It's like me saying you should go learn more.
Yeah.
And say, I know you're into health. Say you had someone who's overweight. I use a bodybuilder and a business owner because they're kind of two good examples. Say the bodybuilder is broke and say the entrepreneur or the business guy is fat and overweight. The bodybuilder says you should go to the gym more and the entrepreneur says you should go make more money. They're just projecting each other's values onto each other.
So how do you overcome that? What would be the language that you'd use to suggest for them to do that without projecting?
That's a good question. So I guess before you do that, you got to make sure you guys are aligned with where you're going.
Yeah.
Because if you're pulling in opposite directions, then that's just going to happen, right?
Either grow together or grow apart, right?
Yeah. So for me, to do that effectively, you've got to know what the vision is. It's like, and you can use this as a business too. What's the mission of the business? Yeah. Are you aligned with the vision and mission of the business? And are you willing to grow and become and do whatever it takes to get there? Same thing with the relationship. We have a vision for our relationship and we are both aligned with that. It's like, say she wanted kids and I never wanted kids. Conflict. You're going to be pulling in opposite directions. Yeah. You're going to be projecting, we should have kids. We should do this. Well, I don't want kids. Yeah. Square peg, round hole.
Cut it early.
Wrong fit.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, we're clear on what it is that we want to go to and we hold each other accountable and we've got transparency with each other and communication to get there. And like we don't have it too often. Like once, if you do what I've just said, understand values and have alignment with vision and hold each other to it, we don't get too many projections. I can't think of the last time that we've had it, like, to be real with you. Do we have arguments? Do we trigger each other? Yes, that's a different conversation. We can talk about that if you want. But it's like we had one, I think 3-4 weeks ago, I triggered her and something came to the surface and we had a bit of an open discussion, argument. We had an open discussion. Heated open discussion. And we were triggered. And once the dust settled, we healed through it back to, how I said, how do you heal? I actually asked her that exact question. I said, baby, what's your way of healing? I've got mine. I do the process and I've got the formulas. I know what I do. What do you do? So I actually do the same thing. I go journal. She actually said journal. So I go and journal. I go meditate. I said, beautiful, baby. Because if she didn't heal that, it would get triggered again. But then it builds because the resentment from the last one adds and it fucking explodes. Yeah. So that was off topic. So it does. If you do the values right and you actually appreciate everyone has their unique set of values that are uniquely independent to them, to their unique view of the world and what's meaningful to them. Yeah. What's meaningful to you? You and me probably have alignment because we get along with each other, but there will be things that you love doing that I couldn't give a fuck about. Yeah. And I'm a video gamer. I don't know if you're a video gamer.
Out of planes.
Yeah, epic, cool. So epic. So it's like, would I do that? Probably. Yeah. All the time? Probably not. It's like, I'd get over it. I've done Byron twice. So it's like, there's just things that you're inspired to do. Fucking awesome. And I'm inspired to do fucking other things. And that's cool. Let each other go fucking live in each other's values. Beautiful. And just doing that in a relationship. So you got to make sure there's alignment there. Make sure, don't get me wrong, like sometimes we feel like our relationship hasn't been prioritized enough. We honestly, transparently had this about a week ago. Yeah. So we sat down and said, hey baby, like I just feel less connected with you lately. I would love to work on this together. What can we do? What can I do to be better? Because I feel like I honestly haven't been prioritizing you enough. I think I've been too business right now for even my own liking. But that's not her coming to me and saying,
feels like, bro.
Yeah, because you get in the flow, you're changing lives, making some money. But yeah, that's my view on it, man. If you actually know values properly and live to your own and know each other's and respect each other's, like we both work from home. Like I've got my office set up like this, not as nice as a setup though, and it's fucking stunning in here. So, and she works on her office on the other side of the room, other side of the house, and like I don't know what she does most of the day. But we connect at the end of the day, have dinner together, connect together. It's like, how was your day, babe? What'd you get up to? She's huge. Training's her highest value. She loves training, loves CrossFit, loves training. Like she can talk fucking to the cows come home about training. And I love listening to it. Like, what are you doing? What are you working on? What are your PBs and all that stuff? Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of going around in circles now, man. But no values, have an aligned vision and just hold each other to the standards to get there. Fuck, that's working well for me so far.
So second part of that question then, at what point in the relationship did you guys have that discussion around values? Because this is something that I think a lot of people are trying to avoid. A lot of time it can be an uncomfortable conversation, right? Or feel like it's not the right time to have that conversation. Because I think that's very early to discover and I guess be aware of early on in the relationship, right?
That's a great question, bro. Great question. You gave me some goosebumps. So really, really beautiful question.
I'm here for it, brother.
Thank you, man. No, that's a beautiful question, man. So I don't know if this is just my Asperger's. I think differently, man. I had them really early.
Cool,
I
I
had
like
them.
that.
I had them really early.
Yeah.
So I remember. So I met her when I was 23 already, or 22, 23. I forget, but around that period. And I was already into the self-development world. I'd done Tony. I was in Kerwin at the time. Had 2 gyms, and I was all like self-development and all that stuff. And Georgia had never seen a self-development fucking thing in her whole life. So I told her, literally, obviously we were sleeping together for a little bit, seeing each other. And I was like, I was still working on relationships are painful. I don't want relationships. I still had my shit I was working through, to be fair.
That wall up still?
Yeah, still had the wall, still had the protection, don't come near me. So, I was still working on my stuff, and I still am working on my stuff. And it was early on, before we were even dating. I just said, hey, babe, I just want to be really transparent with you. A non-negotiable I do have for my relationship is that my partner grows, works on themselves. And I told her, I said, word for word, you don't have to be Tony Robbins. I said, you don't have to go nuts with it, but at least constantly growing. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be business. You don't have to become fucking Warren Buffett. You just work on your stuff. If you get triggered, work on it.
It comes up.
Work on it. Work through it.
Have that growth mindset, right?
Beautiful. So that was one of them. It wasn't about values. I don't think I'd really sunk my teeth into values back then. I think I was just starting. That's this DeMartini again. He does values. So I hadn't really sunken my teeth into values just then. So I don't think I did that. Once, like if I learn something today, I read a book, I'm like, that is going to change our relationship. I'll go teach it to her. And I'll say, not teach it to her. Oh, I do teach it to her, but I say, hey, baby, this is actually a non-negotiable for me and how I view the world in our relationship. And I know it's going to be so meaningful for us. It would really be important for me for you to read this. Yeah. So if I read a book that's like, there's about 2 or 3 that I have given her that I'm like, this is...
These ones you have read and haven't recommended without.
These ones I have read. So, so ones that I have read, I'm like, this has changed the way I view the world. You know those books. It's like you see the world differently. Yeah. That's when you tell it. That's a good book if you have that. So, whenever I have that, I'm like, this is significant. We need to be on the same page about this for us to grow together. And vice versa. By the way, I don't want this to sound one-sided from me to her. She does the same thing. She'll read something. So she's big into spirituality. She's been big into energy, into masculine, feminine energy, and she will read something. She's like, baby, this is important. I need you to read this for me. Beautiful. Give it to me. I'll put it into my pile and I'll smash through it. We'll send each other podcasts. So I'll listen to a podcast where I'm like, fuck, that's insane. Baby, this is us. This is something we can work on together. I'll send it to her. So we help each other grow. That's really important.
About, right?
Yeah.
Like to me, what I see a relationship as, and this is something I've always struggled with, is same as you. Like you know, you meet each other, and then all of a sudden one grows apart from the other, right? Yeah. And it's just like gets to a point where it's like we're just going through the motions. But a relationship is about meeting each other where you're at. Yeah. This is for me, right? This is my perspective, and then from there you grow together. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be smooth sailing the whole way. And 100%, it's not going to be ever, but by, I guess, using each other, not using each other, but by helping each other work through your shit together, it allows you to become a better version of you, right?
You, man, nail on the fucking head, man. When you're reached a level of awareness and consciousness to work through it together, you will grow more than anywhere else. I do a lot of content on relationships, and someone asked me the other day if I'm a relationship coach. I don't call myself a relationship coach. The work is magnified in a relationship.
Massively, bro. I couldn't agree more.
And that's where you get to grow the most. You will grow more in a relationship more than anywhere else. No fucking plant medicine, no fucking seminar, no fucking course or fucking book will help you grow more than a relationship once you're at the level of awareness of actually being aware that when you're triggered, it's not them, it's you. It's not them. What someone does is their shit. How you react is your shit. You could say the most fucked up thing to me right now. Yeah. You're a fucking piece of shit. You could say the meanest thing you could come up with. Right. If it gets me, that's my stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What have I got there that I can move through?
Yeah, exactly right. So, so once you get to that level where you are aware enough, conscious enough, you've done a lot of the work yourself, then you can do the work together. That's where I'm like, fuck, relationships are epic. Yeah. But you got to be on the same page. You got to have the same vision, aligned vision. And you got to know how to do the work.
And I think another part of that as well, obviously relationships, teach you more about yourself than anything else that will. Yeah. But children. And obviously I'm a father myself, man, like this is going to hurt a lot of people when I say this, but if your kids are acting like shit, it's on you. Yeah. They're a mirror of us.
Yeah. Oh. Man.
I feel like it's...
That's really goosebumps today, man. It's good. It's good.
Shit. It's one of them days, eh? Yeah. But I think it's the same with relationships, right? Like having a kid or having a partner, those are the best circumstances for us to grow. The
Man,
best. It's like a little incubator for growth.
man, it's a mirror, like you said. And I don't have kids yet. I've got fur babies. I've got dogs and
Yeah, bro.
and a cat, which is my partner's, but my cat. And
I like how you just like sort of had to put that in there. It's not my
Okay.
cat, but it kind of is.
Georgia cat. Georgia cat. The cat likes me more. But Georgia admits that too.
It's always the way my kid likes everyone else. But
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, man. It's my hairdresser. She Sammy. She's we talk about this stuff. She's into self development, so we have really awesome conversations. And she actually said the same comment you just said. So she's just said like on top of what you said with relationships, kids, like biggest thing. So. Man, I haven't yet to experience that gift, and I'm looking forward to that gift. But I something I have experienced with my dog. So this is not to the level that I'm sure a kid does, but everything's a mirror. I was playing with my
as well, bro.
I was playing with Dexter, which is the OG sausage, and when I was playing with him, and you know how I mentioned I was very anxious, very autistic.
Yeah.
I was very scared. That was my core wound is feeling scared and vulnerable and hurt. And I was playing with my dog, and he barks a fair bit, and it's a bit like he's got that sort of nervous, anxious energy. Yeah, very like rigidity. And I was just playing with him at home. Like I had the house to myself again, and I was just playing with throwing the ball. That's a good game. So playing through the ball down the hallway, and he wouldn't bring it all the way back to me. He would bring it like a meter or two away from me. I'm just like, and I was high at this time, by the way. I had some weed, so I was like really like sort of spacing out. And I get really creative and really coachy when I'm high. So I was with him. I was looking at him. I was like, he started like because he was like excited but scared. I was like, that's me. That's what my dad did to me.
Yeah.
That I'm being my dad to him.
Yeah.
And it was a big like. It sounds really simplistic, but it was a big hit because I'm like,
no, bro,
that's
I
the
get
judgment I had to my dad that he did to me, but I'm doing it to him.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, that's crazy shit. It was a big. I actually haven't really shared that with anyone, so that was
Powerful stuff, man.
yeah. Again, I know kids are just gonna be that on fucking steroids, but it's I look forward to it, man.
It's come through for me so many times with my son, bro. Like, for instance, work, right? And this is a thing, like, I think about my dad, and I'm like, he was never there for me, but he was always providing. And in his head, he was doing everything for us, right? But as a kid, what do we see? We don't see the dad working, we see the dad not being there.
Yeah.
And I had the same thing start to play out for me, bro. And that's why I say, like, my son, shout out to you, William. I love you. Love you so much. But you've taught me more about myself than anyone else ever has. You know, and he's only 5 years old, turns 5 in a couple of days.
It's powerful, man.
Kids are cool, man. Kids are the best.
Very powerful, man. This has been a beautiful conversation, man.
I've been really enjoying it, bro. Man, so something I really want to know is, what does your daily routine look like? What is your morning routine?
I have had challenges with morning routines because you'll hear like people say conflicting things with morning routines, like the ice baths, the meditation, the sauna, the exercise. I saw one.
Imagine if you did it all, it'd be
Yeah,
like hours.
yeah,
You don't have to be a whole day.
Yeah.
Just be doing morning routine.
I love Hormozy does funny content on this. How he like takes the piss out of it. It's like I get up. I have a coffee and I work. It's like that. That's the morning routine.
morning routine,
For me, what works well for my routine, I wake up at 4:35, and I do that just because it times it for the traffic to get to the gym or the drive to the gym. So I change it depending where I live
bro.
So that's that's compared to the gym chapter, which it used to be 3:50. That's a nice sleeping for me. So 4:35, get up. I keep my phone in my ensuite, so it's not in my bed. So alarm goes off, have to get up to go get it.
Cue, right?
Yeah, little cue. Atomic Habits. If you've done that book, really good. I have read that one. I have read that.
I don't know where it is, but I've got it somewhere.
Yeah, I have read that one. So, and I've got my I say uniform. I should say uniform. Clothes for the gym already there in the bathroom. So I wake up, turn the alarm off. Clothes are there. I've got my trusty Voss bottle filled with water. That's already there as well. So scull some water, get dressed. It's the routine slightly changed because we just got a new puppy. So I'm now taking the dog to the gym with me. So normally I just shoot down, I give Georgia a kiss and a cuddle on the way out. She sleeps in a bit longer than me. And then I shoot down, I go to the gym, I train, I do the 5 a.m. class at the studio that I've got at the moment. Come home, depending if what time I have calls on, I'll shower straight away, or if I'm just in a good flow state, I'll record a podcast straight away. So I'll jump straight into the studio, record a podcast or record some content. My sort of, wake up to sort of 12, 1 o'clock is like on. After that, and depending on calls and all that stuff. But yeah, I get a lot of work done in the start of the day. But depending on what time I either record or have a shower, then record. I only take calls between 8:30 to 5:30. So like you can only book in for calls at that time. So I'll have my strategy calls or coaching sessions on that time. I have some days where I have earlier calls because I've got a couple of clients in the US, so I have to be, my time zone's a little bit different. But man, I just work and I have a break when I want to, and I don't really have it scheduled in. I just like, fuck, I feel like having a bite to eat. I'll go down and grab some food from the fridge. I normally have a Shine drink because I like those Shine drinks. They're fucking nice, very addictive. So talking about a little bit, they've got I think 80 mils in there or something like that, or whatever it's called. So not a ton. And man, I'll work. Have a break midday to eat food and do some reading or a podcast. I'll switch between the two. Work until about sort of, depending on what time I have calls booked in. So the latest I'll finish is around 6:30. If someone books in for 5:30 to 6:30, so that would be the latest I'll finish. Sometimes I'll finish at 4:30. I think my last call today is at 5:15, so I'll finish around sort of 6 o'clock today. And then I'll go home. I'll cook most nights. Me and Georgia sort of switch between. I'm normally the chef. Cook, and then we'll chill out, watch a podcast or watch a movie, watch a doco, chat, connect, hang out with the animals, go to sleep, repeat. So pretty chill.
Man, so what I heard there pretty much was, so wake up obviously, right? You've
Yep.
got the habits in the morning, but it's all about in the day for you, you're getting your exercise, so
Yep.
movement.
Yep.
You've also got then education and
Yep.
growth,
Yep.
right? As well as connection. Those
Yep.
are like the 5 big pillars for you.
Yep.
And that's the way it's been for how long now?
I think it's a good question. It was probably once I got out of that sort of grind, sleep when you're dead attitude. The ego chapter of my life. Definitely ego still shows up, but when I was in that chapter where it literally wasn't training, eating like shit, grind, no relationships, work. Feeling like that shit, but smile on the outside. So
My body hates me.
yeah, it's like the customer voice, the customer service voice. So yeah, I'm feeling amazing. So once I sort of probably finished that, and that's where actually Georgia came into my life. Georgia has balanced me out so much. I was so rigid, so work heavy, hustle, sleep when you're dead, no life balance, health was fucked. I said training's a high value of hers. So she's like, I take magnesium before bed now. She has mushroom extracts. She all these fucking supplements, all this stuff. Like, man, fuck. Open the drawer at our house and there's like fucking 30 different supplements. So yeah, literally. So George is all about that, which is awesome. I take bone broth in the morning sometimes. I've never sort of looked into that stuff. So I've learned a lot through Georgia, which I'm really grateful for. But when she probably came into my life, and when I got out of the gym, so it's probably been refined since I've left the gym, like as in I'm not working in it anymore, because obviously that's quite a big shift for my day-to-day stuff, because I was driving to the gym in the morning to take classes and work, etc. So yeah, probably 12 months of actually doing roughly what I just said, and you're just sort of tweaking it as we go and to make it a little bit more efficient.
And so let's just say there was a day that you missed. Do you notice that you show up as a different person through that day?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had one the other night. I think because I try to prioritize 8 hours sleep too. I get to bed by 8:30, so then that to 4:30, that's 8 hours. But I think it was. I don't know what. I think George had a family thing on, and she just got home really late. I don't know about you, man. I struggle to sleep when they're coming home late. Like not as in like I'm thinking about like overthinking. It's just like she's gonna get home and wake me up. So it's like I'm gonna get to sleep. She's gonna wake me up and then go back to it. So I stayed up a bit later because I thought she wouldn't get home till like sort of 9 o'clock or whatever. And then she didn't end up getting home till like 11 because they just stayed out for dinner and they stuck around for ages, which is totally sweet. So then I ended up getting to sleep. Then she got home at around sort of 11:30, then woke me up again. So I didn't have a great night's sleep. So I slept through, didn't train, and just not in that, you're just not sharp, hey? You're just not in as great. Still productive, just not as sharp, not as productive, not all cylinders are firing. So when I don't train and don't have the routine, and a gift of Asperger's style of people, they're very routine, very structured, very rigid, which is a downside to me. Sometimes I'm too structured, too rigid. But yeah, when the routine throws off, it does throw me off a bit.
For sure, man. Yeah. I want to ask a couple more questions before we finish up. We've got two for you. So number one is, what are the top 5 books that have changed your life? For anyone out there that's a reader, or even audiobook, man. So for me personally, I'll read,
Yep.
but I'll also audiobook as well because I find I get a lot more information after I've read than audiobook.
Yeah, cool.
But
Cool.
yeah, is there 5 books that you know of or that you can recommend for anyone that's looking to do the personal development side of things?
Personally, I was going to ask like what sort of area.
Context, yeah.
I did a video on this actually. It's on YouTube. Number one,
I might link them to that actually. Yeah.
Number one, the breakthrough experience. That's Dr. John DeMartini. So that goes through how to heal any trauma, any judgment, anything you're holding on to, anything that triggers you, anything where there's lack of gratitude or love. It will dissolve it. Really powerful. Number one by far. I sort of play between this one, but it would probably be Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah. That's I reread that. That was the book I just finished. I'm doing Principles at the moment by Ray Dalio. Sorry, Ray, don't get in on this list. That's more of a business book anyways.
What was the Principles?
Principles, yeah, Ray Dalio. But that's more of sort of a business life book, not so much self-development. 3 would be Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. That was really cool. About the Tao Te Ching, and he translates the Tao Te Ching into sort of like modern day, because it's like poetry. It's like, it's 2,500 years old. And it's like ancient scripture which can be used now, and it's super practical, and it's a way of living. It's so beautiful, but it's like poetry. It's hard to understand. So then he'll do a verse, and then he'll translate it. Then another verse, and he translates it. So that was really cool. I would say You're Not Broken by Dr. Sarah Woodhouse. I'm talking about it's literally called You're Not Broken: How to Heal Your Trauma and Reclaim Your Life. So that would probably be there. And what would be number 5? Is that 4, right? Breakthrough experience, Becoming Supernatural, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, You're Not Broken. What would be the 5th one? Probably, this isn't so much self-development, but Man's Search for Meaning. Like, it's not self-development, but it's just like Viktor Frankl went through concentration camp, World War II. Mum, dad, brother, sister, partner, all killed in a gas chamber, went through it for 2 to 3 years. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, external circumstances don't dictate what life means to us. We place meaning upon it. So he went through all of that and came out the other side. He survived. He's a very rare survivor. And he came out with gratitude, inspiration, meaning to give back to the world. Yeah. It's like, you have no fucking excuse. It's like, if you're going through problems, think of him. Yeah. And not to compare, to take away and disown what you're going through. Own it. But like perspective, man. Like, like that. Yeah, I would say that would be in there, but that'll be top 5.
And second question, so I like to ask this to all my guests.
Yeah, right.
If you had all the money in the world, what would be the first thing you did? First thing that came to mind.
I thought coaching. I thought coaching.
Funny how like we think that, right?
I'd say coaching. Probably up my coaching. Yeah. I'd probably hire people just to make more content, make it more accessible, make it more usable.
More reach.
More reach. Yeah, just impact more people, man. I drive a fucking $15,000 car. Like, I drive a Subaru. So, I dress pretty casual. I'm wearing an LSKD pants and an LSKD jumper, which they gave to me. So thank you. So they do it for the gym. They don't do it for me. They do it for the gym. Yeah, man, I'd do coaching, probably more learning as well. Like, get like, get some like, imagine having a fund of like an unlimited fund of self-development. You could get fucking Tony Robbins as one-on-one coaching. That would, yeah. So, like, man, here's $1 million a year.
Yeah, that's my goal.
And he's got a waiting list. So good luck. So,
I might as well sign up now.
So it's just IOU. I'll pay you later. So, so probably coaching and learning, man. That's would probably be just that on a bigger scale.
I love it, brother. I love it. Now, Lewis, if people want to find you, where can they find you, bro?
And Lewis Huckstep is quite a unique name from the last name. So it's Lewis Huckstep across the board. So if you genuinely want to have a conversation, go to Instagram. I respond to all of my messages. So
I'll put your links down below as well.
Thank you, my man. So Lewis Huckstep, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you want. But if you actually want to have a chat, Instagram's mainly me.
Oh, man. Appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thank you, my bro. You've been amazing.